Hello and welcome to the weekly Kashmir University Video Digest Quest. First, a look at the highlights. Vice-Chancellor delivers first colloquium lecture. Iqbal Library holds workshop for scholarly communication. And 8-day Sonzul Festival concludes. Now the details with your host Binish Ali. The University of Kashmir started colloquium lectures on research topics taken up by the academia and scholars. The colloquium lectures would enable students, scholars and teachers to share their ideas on a common platform. Dean Research Professor Zafar Ahmed Rishi, who organized the lectures, said that there was a need of having such platforms wherein scholars and academia can share their ideas.
This is a platform which we want to provide to students, which we want to provide to research scholars, which we want to provide to a lecturer, which we want to provide to a professor, in case he or she wants to, discuss something with his fellow colleagues. Ordinarily, we do not get such type of opportunities. We thought that we need to create an opportunity or a platform for such type of interaction. And as such, any of you who is interested to speak in this colloquium is welcome. He could be a student if he or she has some crazy idea and then wants to have some opinion of others as well. It's always good. And then this is our firm belief that there are brilliant people and brilliant minds in this institution. Only thing is that those brilliant minds have to realize that they are really brilliant. And then they have to shun those inhibitions which we usually have, that we do not share, an idea with somebody. Why? Because we fear that a fair-skinned person in Europe or in US must have had this idea long back. And more often than not, it comes out the fact that it was a brilliant idea. I should have, processed it further, and maybe I could have laid hands on some big discovery.
Vice-Chancellor Professor Khurshid Iqbal Andrabi delivered the first colloquium lecture. He took up his research, mTOR pathway hoodwinked to overtake cell growth and proliferation.
What insulin does is that once it binds the external, or for that matter any kind of hormone that binds the external surface of the cell, that's called a receptor, it passes on information by collaborating with several entities inside the cell. Those entities inside the cell that pass on this information from our external of the cell to the internal of the cell are called signaling molecules. These signaling molecules sequentially pass on the information from one to the other as if they were passing on the baton that comes from the exterior of the cell to let the cell do exactly what the cell wants to do. And the central regulator of growth and development of a cell is a protein complex that's called mTOR. And any entity of the cell that collaborates with mTOR, they constitute a network of signaling entities that's called mTOR pathway. And this mTOR pathway is a normal regulator of cell growth and proliferation, cell growth and division. In cancer situations, this normal cellular growth and proliferation is hoodwinked by certain other things, as if mTOR pathway was more active. That means the cells would divide more and the cells would provide for sustenance of more growing cells so that cancer cells can sustain the growth and development on their own by bypassing the mTOR pathway.
Professor Andrabi explained what mTOR is and why it is called so.
Why it's called mammalian target of rapamycin is that rapamycin is a fungal antibiotic that is commonly in use for cancer therapy. It's a very essential part of chemotherapeutic regimen that basically inactivates mTOR, this pathway. Does not let the proliferation signals be passed on into the cell so that the cell stops proliferating. So it's a very important entity. It's basically a fungal antibiotic that was identified as an immunosuppressive drug. And then in the end, it turned out that it actually was a very important agent to inhibit G1 to S phase transition of the cells. So it basically serves both purposes for immunotherapeutics, rapamycin is in common use, and for chemotherapy against cancer, rapamycin is commonly used. So the bottom line is that this entity here needs to be shut down for shutting down proliferation and proliferation sustenance by way of shutting down cap-dependent translation.
The Allama Iqbal Library held a one-day workshop on finding ways of writing scholarly communication. Librarian Ms. Sumaira Nabi, in a welcome address, said that it has been the endeavour of Allama Iqbal Library to update scholars and students with regard to research writings so that they are able to compete with international students.
All members of the university community are expected to operate in and abide by fundamental values of honesty and integrity. I would like to invoke the definition of the academic integrity as per the International Center of the Academic Integrity, ICAI, a consortium of the 2,000 colleges and the universities. Integrity as a commitment, even in the face of the adversity, to 6 fundamental values, that is honesty, trust, fairness, respect, responsibility, and courage. I will make the revised document on academic integrity available on our library website so we can all familiarize ourselves with the fundamentals of ethical scholarly practices. However, documents become meaningless if we do not engage with them or implement the principles in our classrooms and in our own scholarship as teachers.
Dean Research Professor Zafar Ahmed Rishi told participants that the university has adopted a policy with regard to curbing plagiarism and it is being strictly followed.
As on date, we have a regulation which is curbing plagiarism. It moved through different bodies and ultimately now we have been mandated not only by the University Grants Commission, but we are mandated by the highest decision-making body of the university, that is University Council, which is chaired by the Honorable Chancellor, who is Governor of the state, that there is a policy, and in that formulation of that policy, the erstwhile librarian and many others took a leading role. And then nowadays, all the research scholars have to get a certificate from the librarian regarding the unique content certificates, on and so forth. But I must also tell you, it's not that tough. It was a beginning. Somehow we took the first step. Incidentally, in the meanwhile, there was a draft plagiarism policy developed by University Grants Commission, which remained on their website for a pretty long period of time. It is still there as a draft policy, but they invited comments from the concerned till September. It must be the anti-plagiarism policy ultimately would see the light of the day very soon. And then if you go through it, there are 3 levels of offences under that scheme.
A member from Springer Publishers, Mr. Kunj Verma, said that these kinds of workshops are important for scholars to understand how international students are better adept at writing scholarly write-ups in worldwide publications.
As a company, we digitize everything, whatever we publish. So as of today, we publish more than 2,000 Springer journals and we have around 74 nature journals. We have more than 2 lakhs digitized books on our website because we started publications in 1842. So all the books which are published since 1842 have been digitized and they are available in these 20 subject collections. The purpose of today's author workshop is to give an insight into how to write scholarly publications or research articles, because in India this is a common issue that people, they complain that when they send an article or any document to an international publishing house, most of them are rejected because of various reasons.
The 8-day Youth Festival Sonzal 2017 concluded at the University of Kashmir. During the 8-day Youth Festival, a number of activities were held in which large number of students took part. Students from 40 degree colleges and 45 university teaching departments competed in various competitions including quiz, debate, elocution, poster making, painting, cartoon making, rangoli, clay modeling, spot photography, one-act play, mimicry, classical, folk and instrumental music. Here is a look at some of the events that were held in the Sonzal Youth Festival.
नई सोच कैंपेन जो स्टार प्लस पे चल रही है, अभी भी चल रही है। सो आपका सवाल, क्वेश्चन। Correct. The question is for the audience. Audience. Who? Me. Time. The correct answer is. This is the answer. Identify this talented lady who plays both cricket and football at international level for Australia.
If you were given a chance to change 3 things in the world, what would they be and why? Well, coming here today, I have no hidden agenda. I'm here to speak for my future, because losing my future is not losing merry elections or losing points in the stock market. I'm here to speak for all the generations to come.
This desire to change the world sounds very noble and heroic. But the question is it really possible to change the world, to bring a child that lost forever? Is it really possible? Isn't it so difficult for a single individual to make a huge difference on social, on global level?
What actually was he thinking? Thoughts which were so insane that they too, like his magic, like his spells, seemed to be magically insane. Because now he was old, he coughed, and his frail and his old ailing soul, it always served to him like a time machine, to the times when he was the only one.
The valedictory function was held at the Convocation Complex. Speaking on the occasion, Dean Students Welfare Professor G.N. Khaki said that he was overwhelmed with the participation of so many students in the Youth Festival.
Department of Students Welfare does not organize only the events that are related to the promotion of academics of the academic institutions, but it is fundamentally concerned to promote both the aspects of the life of students, curricular as well as the co-curricular activities. Said event is in continuation to a grand legacy that has been nurtured, promoted by this grand academic institution to see to it that our students exhibit their talent, their worth, their potential and their merit and their concern for different academic activities, cultural activities, curricular as well as co-curricular activities. During this week-long event, prominent programs have been conducted. We are highly grateful to the distinguished personalities, especially the experts and the judges who have monitored the worth and the capability of the students in demonstrating their worth with representing their own field of activity.
Dean Research Professor Zafar Ahmed Rishi, while encouraging other students to take part in such festivals, hoped that those who participate in the Sonzal Youth Festival would excel in international events as well.
Once you have participated, you have overcome your, say, those inhibitions, and once those inhibitions are overcome, you are the winner. Ladies and gentlemen, I must confess frankly that I was a bit fortunate that I was born ahead of you. If I was born with you, I would have been nowhere keeping in view the talent that you have. Anyway, I, as teacher, do not have any doubt in your capabilities, right? The events like Sonzal somehow hone those talents. I mean, somehow we get to know that how talented you are, that you give you also this feeling that you are highly talented. You need basically to take this talent to the next level and then to the next level. They were just now speaking that those of you who are winning in various competitions would participate at national level. I would not be surprised if some of you participate at international level as well and bring laurels not only to yourself but to this institution as well and to this state also.
Registrar Professor Khurshid Ahmed Butt, while lauding the all-round talent that the students showed, said that participating in public events is an achievement in itself.
All participants deserve all appreciation, all compliments, because participation itself is a winning. Yes, certainly, when we participate, then ultimately we have to choose only a few, but it doesn't mean those who have participated that they have not been the winners. They also have been the winners because they have participated, they have learned, they have made others to be the number one or number two in the entire events. So I compliment the winners. The winners certainly deserve all appreciation. And I hope that this event, their participation in this event and their winning in this event will go a long way in making them, to excel in their own chosen hobbies and in their own careers. And as a registrar, I would like to, make it one thing very clear that this university is committed to provide you all resources, all help in all type of activities, whether these are the academic activities, whether these are the co-curricular activities, or whether these are the extracurricular activities.
Vice Chancellor Professor Khurshid Iqbal Andrabi, while praising the Department of Students Welfare, said for overall development of an individual, students should not shy in competing in such events.
Allah Ta'ala Kamyab Kamran. I think this was a wonderful event and I must compliment Khaki Sahab. Kya is it? Education chan yitsi yaz ki is paro kitab, is paro talim. Education shi yit. Yitish education, this is part of education. This is as much as important as the formal way of getting yourself informed is. Expressing in basically exhibiting your talent the way it was exhibited here. I must compliment all the participants.
Later, awards were distributed among the winners. With this, we come to the end of today's program. In case you missed some part of the program, you can log on to emmrckashmir.com where you can watch the whole episode. Do send us your suggestions at our email address quest@emmrckashmir.com. Greek philosopher Epicurus said, "He who is not satisfied with a little is satisfied with nothing." With these words, I take your leave. See you next week. Goodbye.